Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video in, surprise surprise, the craft journal. Today I'm playing with this stenciled Queenie stencil which I recently found on eBay, and it was one that I didn't have, so I decided of course I had to have it. It's another one that lends itself really well to doing as a cutout. So you notice I've stenciled it on this right hand side of the page, so it's touching the edge of the page, and then I'm just getting my cutting mat and craft knife, and I'm just cutting off this part of the head. And then I'm just putting the stencil back on, and you see I'm just leaving a tiny bit and just adding a bit of black around the edge of the face. So then I'm using some of the text collage paper. I'm going to be sticking that on using gel medium. Quite a lot of gel medium apparently. Sometimes it does come out very fast, but it's okay, it all gets used. This craft paper can be quite thirsty, so it doesn't really matter. It's not a problem if you end up splodging too much out. So I'm adding these pieces of collage paper onto the background just to start to break up that blank page and add a bit of interest there too. Mixing up some of the designs that I'm using, just some of the little bits of scraps of where I've cut pieces out and I've got some odd shapes. So I'm just sticking those down because I am going to be adding some paint over the top of this, so some of it will show and some of it won't. So don't be too precious about anything that you put down in your first layer, because mixed media, for me, it is about building those layers into your backgrounds. So next I'm using some mineral paint. This is a really lovely colour. It works really well if you're going to be doing a sort of monochromatic type of page. It's a lovely bluey grey. It's nice, it works so well with so many colours. So I've just added some parts of that colour onto the page, and then I'm using the lattice stencil from Dina Wakley. I'm going to be using that with, I think I start off with black. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Black mixed with mineral. So I've made like a really, really dark grey colour. So starting off adding some stenciling using a blending tool onto the page, and then I'm getting rid of that colour and I'm going to go in with some white. And what I'm going to do is line the stencil up with where I first used it and then just shift it slightly down and to the right, so that what I'm going to get when I've done that is like a sort of shadow effect with the stencil. So you'll notice this is a look, it's really cool effect. It makes it look a bit 3D. So that's the stencil that lends itself really, really well to this. So these are some collage pieces from the Things That Grow collage pack from Dina Wakley, and I do like some, you know, it's nice to put some botanical elements onto your page. I think it just kind of mixes up the different focal points that you've got there, and I don't know, I just like them. They're really cool. So just working out where they were going to go, and then here I'm just mixing a bit of orchid gloss spray with some white paint and making a really lovely pastel colour, and then I'm just painting on some circles. Doing them freehand, but if you weren't feeling particularly confident to paint them freehand, you could just as easily use a stencil. You could even make a stencil yourself and paint those circles on using that. But I wasn't worried about these being particularly regular circles. And then of course, got to have pink cheeks. Why wouldn't you? Then I'm just going back in and adding another layer of that just to make that paint a bit more opaque, so that colour doesn't show through as much of the background. Then I've got this tool which is basically, I think a straw or something came inside. It was a paintbrush, I remember it was a paintbrush. It makes fabulous circles, as you can see. I'm using this chipboard shape with the words on from Dina Wakley, and pushing the back of the staples down just so that I don't have a catastrophe. I think I must have fixed it on a bit wonky, so just straightening it up. Then I'm doing some scribbly lines round the circles using this black gel pen. And then adding some mark making and some dots onto those circles too. This is a Signo Uniball in white. And as I've said before, sometimes these behave and sometimes they don't. Just a bit the look of the drawer, I think, with these. Posca pens can be a bit more reliable as long as you don't get the nibs wet, because then they too can be temperamental. It is one of those things that I hear lots of art journalists talking about, the eternal search for the perfect white pen. So next you notice I'm just outlining these botanical elements that are on the page. All that's doing is just pushing those away a little bit, making them less dominant on the page. So then I am just using this stamp that says "Be a Legend", and I'm just stamping that in a few places on the page. And then I'm going to write my words. So there I was just having a think about how to do them, and I've decided that I would do them kind of heading towards that phrase that says "You do you", to draw the eye along that way. So I've just drawn some guidelines, and then I'm using this Posca pen and just writing my words on those lines. And then I'm just using the white Signo Uniball and just adding like a bit of a shadow on each of those letters, again just to push those away so they're not quite so dominant. And then I think that is pretty much it for this page. So there it is, there's the final page, quite a monochromatic feel with the pink accents. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.